YouTube Ozzico and the Goat House is back with my score predictions for the AFC and NFC Championship game. We got picks against the spread for both games, and we have my anytime touchdown picks, which we did very well on last week. So excited about it. Bunch of content here on the channel for the playoffs and for the offseason. More to come. Have a lot on our Twitter as well. Did our top 100 list already. That was somewhat recent. So join us there as well. Links pinned in the comments for anything you're looking for. Check out our sponsors, Liquid IV, GLD Shop. Let's go on to the first game. I have the Chiefs win. It's a toss-up game. I got the Chiefs winning, kind of a gut feeling here. 24-23. I kind of had a specific scenario in my head. 23-17 late in the game. Ravens in the lead. Mahomes game-winning drive. Felt like he was going to get a crack at it last week. If the Bills went for it or if they made the field goal, it didn't happen. So maybe this week here. They are getting 3 points. The favorites all won last week, minus the Chiefs. Ravens have been the best team all year. That defense is ridiculous. That's why it's tough. That's a tough thing about picking against the Ravens here. It's kind of a gut feeling that I'm going with the Chiefs here. And Joe Thuney sounding like he'll be healthy. That's big as well. But the Ravens defense has been so damn good. I guess we only got to see him for one playoff game, but it was ridiculous, all year and in that game. And the Chiefs offense hasn't been the same as past years, and specifically in the red zone, they're coming away with field goals rather than touchdowns quite a bit. So that'd be the reason they lose. Like the Ravens defense too much, and they're getting field goals instead of touchdowns, and they lose. That definitely could be, the case there. Just got a feeling, Mahomes been turning it on. Kelsey turned it on last game. Even Marquez Valdes-Scantling turned it on, catching the ball, making some good catches last game. Pacheco played very well. The Ravens' run D was really good against the Texans. And overall, the defense has been good all year. But the run defense has been the part where it's been a little hot and cold, I suppose, compared to the rest of the defense. So I think they're going to be game planning for the Mahomes, deep ball and him scrambling, and they can kind of be sneaky with Pacheco. Kind of like the Bills game last week. Now the Ravens defense is a lot better than the Bills. And then for the opposite side of the ball, Chiefs defense has actually been very good this year, tight in coverage. The worry with them is they struggle to stop the run as well. And the Ravens are very good running the football. But I don't know. I think Spagnuolo's cover 2 defense can kind of create some struggles for a receiving unit that's kind of been hot and cold as well. The Ravens randomly have like a offensive game where they, I'm thinking like the Jags game was they end up scoring a lot of points in the end, I suppose. But the Chargers game where they're a little slow, and I think it's because of the receivers, lack of separation, not catching the ball very well, which the Chiefs have that issue as well with catching the ball. But it could be one of those games. I'm going to trust the Chiefs game plan here. Just something I've learned too. It takes a while for the league to change, and a lot of things stay the same way. And it's every year we kind of see it. Cowboys can't win playoff games. The Packers eventually choke. The Bills eventually choke. The Ravens haven't been able to get over the hump. Do they do it here? The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, they continue just to find ways in the end. So that is probably part of my gut pick as well. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs 24-23. It is in Baltimore. That defense is nasty. That'd make the Ravens the obvious choice. This is kind of what I'm feeling here at this moment. If Joe Thuney was going to be out, which I guess he still could be, I'd lead Ravens probably because that's major. He's a major factor. But we'll see. It's going to be a red zone offense. For the Chiefs, can they execute against a great defense, and will they run the? I think running the ball to Pacheco a bit could cause some damage, but you also want to air the ball downfield. I think, they can take a page out of the Rams book. The Rams had a lot of success against the Ravens defense, and there's some similarities in offenses where the strengths are of the offenses. So I think the Chiefs could find something there. I think why they don't score as many points as the Rams did is because the difference in receivers. But one is a regular season, one is a playoff game, so can't really compare them that much. Then for the NFC Championship game, I'm going to go with the Niners winning that one. They are getting 7 points. It's a lot of points for the NFC Championship game, but I got them right around that range. I have them winning by 8, actually. I wouldn't touch it, but Lions have played very well. They've had a pretty good run. They're at home. That crowd was wild. Now they got to go to the opposite side of the country, or I guess they're in the middle of the country, but they got to go to the far end of the country there in San Francisco after they're used to playing at home. I think that's pretty tough. after some emotional wins. Just the Lions going from just not winning anything in so long to winning 2. Yeah, so I think that alone will make it a challenge. Either the Niners were off last game. Now, if they're off again, it could be a similar game. I think the Packers and the Lions are pretty similar. I guess we'll learn in this game which one's better. But the Packers got really good at the end of the year. When it was all said and done. Even the last time they said play the Lions, they kind of showed it. But yeah, things didn't go the Niners' way in that game. I mean, they had a lot of penalties, which they are the right calls. That penalty yardage, I should say. Debo got hurt right away. I thought Shanahan called a poor game, like going away from McCaffrey, and they still won the game. So I think chances are, we'll see if Debo plays or not, but I think chances are, in the downpour, I think affected Purdy. It sounds like it's going to be 50s and clear. So chances are no rain. Chances are Shanahan calls a better game. I don't know if they'll have as many penalties. They could. Things kind of been going the Lions' way in that category, especially in the playoffs. But so I think they'll execute a little bit better in this game. And I look at the Lions' other games. The Rams. We said that was a dead even. It was a pretty close to dead even matchup, like a good matchup. It was a 24-23 final, dead even, like back and forth for a bit. And then all of a sudden the defenses both started playing better at the same time. Both quarterbacks played very well. It was a pretty even matchup. The Bucs, we said the Lions were the favorites for a reason in that game. The Buccaneers just didn't have a super explosive offense, and the defense is kind of hit or miss, even though it was improving. This is a much different matchup. The Niners are good across the board. They stop the run at a very high level. They can run the ball at a very high level. They can throw the ball. They have weapons. They have guys that can separate against the Lions. Pass defense can cause some problems for some teams. They have playmakers. They have pass rushers. They're really strong. The linebacker position, obviously. The Lions are a very good team as well, but just they're stacking the teams next to each other. They both can run the ball. They both can pass the ball. They both stop the run very well. There's one thing that really splits them apart, and that is the difference in pass defense. The Lions still, you can throw on the Lions. Guys will get separation on the Lions. I think Ayuk has a big game in this one. I also think, looking at the Lions' run defense, they're very solid, especially with Lee McNeil in there. He's obviously going to be in there. Hutchinson's a really good run defender for an edge guy. Linebackers been playing better and better. They're solid stopping and run. They haven't seen the Niners and McCaffrey yet this year. I don't think anybody can stop that. I think you can kind of slow it down. I think if they go away from the run, I think the Lions have a better shot at stopping it by getting a lead rather than the run defense. I think, who am I taking in that one? The great Lions run defense or the great McCaffrey and the 49ers rush offense? I think most of us would lean McCaffrey. So I think he'll have some successful runs, and that's going to really disrupt and throw off the Lions. Like, we're used to stopping this, and that could open up the pass. But I think the pass is kind of open by default. If this was in Detroit, it could be a whole different ball game. But I think more things go the Niners' way this game rather than the Packers game, which would make them a little bit more comfortable. Just a big step up in a game plan and the matchup for the Lions in the last 2 games that they have played. I actually think it's somewhat similar for the 49ers and the Packers game. Team that's pretty balanced, running and throwing the football, an improving defense, I suppose, but not the greatest defense. And again, the Niners, that was bad for the Niners, and they still won the game. So I would imagine they play. But if they play like that, they could lose or they could barely escape again. So we'll see. But I'm feeling the Niners 31-23 in that one. And on to only 2 picks against spread, so that means I had the Chiefs +3 because I had them winning, but it's a 50-50 game, kind of just a gut feeling. Ravens, with the season they had and their defense honestly they should win the game, but who should win doesn't really always happen. Niners -7, that's a lot of points. I probably wouldn't put myself. I wouldn't put money on it, but kind of a feeling where just the matchup, just a much better team for the Lions to play compared to what they're used to the last several weeks, not just the last couple weeks, and being away from home after 2 in a row. I just a feeling that the Niners barely cover that there. I can see the Lions winning close. I could see the Niners winning by I think it's somewhat of a similar matchup to the Cowboys game that they played too. I think the Lions are better than the Cowboys, but and that was a bloodbath. So, but the Lions stopped the run much better than the Cowboys. That's where it's different. The Niners gashed them on the ground. I just don't like comparing, even though I'm doing it, comparing regular season and playoff games. But that's what I have there. And then the anytime touchdowns, which went 5 out of 6 last week. The only guy that missed was Laporta, which tight ends have been on a heater scoring against the Bucs. So I was surprised that one didn't hit. With the amount of points the Lions scored as well. I'm going to put obvious, boring. I'm going to put McCaffrey at the top. But the Lions got a pretty good run defense, so maybe it stops it. Even on Twitter, I had McCaffrey scoring twice and a McCaffrey plus Kittle anytime touchdown option, and that hit as well. On Sunday, we had like 11 alternates hit and 4 out of 4 props hit. It was a good weekend. But McCaffrey at 1. I like Ayuk a lot. The Lions' pass defense is the weakness, the ultimate weakness of the Lions. Ayuk is a top separator in the NFL. He will get open. Purdy will see him. He'll throw it to him. I guess will he get in the end zone is kind of up in the air. He'll have his opportunities. I'm curious to see what his receptions over-under is. I would imagine it's usually like 4.5, and he's usually right around there, 4, 5, 6. It's usually 4.5, 5.5. I bet you it's 5.5 this week. I would actually take the over. The only thing stopping that is if the Niners are up huge early, which is a possibility given the Lions defense isn't the greatest on the planet. I'm just not expecting an ass beating instantly, but you never know. I go Pacheco. Ravens, really good defense, mainly because the pass defense, they were great against the run last week. I think it'll be a little bit different this week. They're going to be game planning for Mahomes, the deep ball. I think MVS having a good game last week kind of helps the Chiefs game plan, or the Ravens game. It helps the Chiefs out with the Ravens preparing for the Chiefs, honestly, because they kind of got to worry about that. The Ravens touchdown's pretty tough. Because last week I went Lamar. Why? 2 reasons why. One, I just think the best players show out in the biggest moments in the playoff game, and that's because I was leaning Lamar. So it'd be a reason to go Lamar again. But another reason was the Texans are very good stopping running backs, like in the running game. Stopping Lamar, quarterback design runs, and scrambling, whole different story. So that usually the teams that stop running backs very well, they're actually confused by the quarterback runs like that. So another reason to go Lamar. The Chiefs don't really stop the run well. Like, they don't stop running backs too well compared to the rest of the playoffs, rest of the teams here, half the teams in the league. And Gus Edwards has scored quite a few touchdowns this year. The tricky part with that is, Justice Hill got more carries last week, but they had a good lead. That was why. But could they get Dalvin Cook going more? Good running back in a big moment. It's possible, but kind of a Gus Edwards feeling here. And with the Lions, Niners stopped the run very well. Chances are Montgomery or Gibbs score, but your best bet is getting the ball downfield and having your physical receiver win in contested catch fashion. St. Brown's like a do-it-all guy. He doesn't look at him. You don't think he's that much of a contested catch guy, but he is pretty good. He's not going to go up and moss anybody, but he is that guy. He can make the contested catches. And the Lions could, I'm not going to predict this, but if anybody was playing from down, it'd be the Lions, and that would be more passing situations. So that would give St. Brown more opportunities. Laporta also scores touchdowns a bit, but Niners do a pretty good job stopping tight ends. Something I noticed is statistically this year, the Niners, the Chiefs, and the Ravens are all statistically very, very good stopping tight ends. So I guess specifically from scoring touchdowns this year compared to the rest of the league. So that was interesting. The Lions are the only team not in there. They're not awful against tight ends, but they're not like those other 3 teams. So that'd be a reason for me to not list tight ends. But if I were to list one, it would probably be Kittle. Actually, not Kelsey, it'd probably be Kittle. But I'm already pretty comfortable with CMC and Ayuk. I had CMC and Kittle last week. So those are my picks for anytime touchdowns. We'll see what happens. Should be a fun week. Only 3 more total NFL games between these two and the Super Bowl. We'll be back with all of our Super Bowl coverage as well. And we have off-season content rolling out and more to come. So join us. Make sure you join us on Twitter as well. Links pinned in the comments. Like, subscribe, to notifications on. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.